Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
Is the time of the week where we go to Tim Parfitt, of course, the man behind, well, several things, including the wonderful website SpainEnglish.com. Tim, there's only one story that's been making the news, and it's a tragic one, but it's one that we have to cover because there are obviously updates coming through.
Yes, indeed, Giles. It's tragic. It's been, but the big news came on Sunday night late with the collision in Andalusia of the two high-speed trains, which obviously you've been speaking about before, I'm sure, on the program. But the latest news as well is from last night here in Catalonia, where a commuter train also collided into rubble from a wall that had collapsed. We've had some storms and torrential rain up here in Catalonia, and this happened late last night, and it resulted in the tragic death of one person and 37 injured. So this has caused even more uncertainty and chaos, if you like, across the whole railway network, not just in Catalonia, but I think across Spain.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, this is just, terrible accident, but I think we have to say, especially with the second one, it's an accident. I mean, you have had, I was watching my news this morning, and the torrential rain up in your part of the country, and foundations, the structures are taking a battering. We had trees coming down, of course, in this part of the world after the latest bout of storms, and this is just literally a terrible tragedy, but it is an accident. This is a wall that has fallen over. I don't think there's an awful lot you could have foreseen this one coming.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that obviously the two tragedies have to be totally separated, but there are some underlying issues here with the infrastructure, if you like, of the whole network. I mean, this is the thing that people are going to be starting to look at, and they are already in Catalonia. I mean, the thing we have in Spain, Giles, just for the benefit of your listeners that aren't totally aware of it. I mean, we have three organisations really across. We have Renfe, which is the Spain's rail operator. No, then we have Adif, which is the infrastructure operator across Spain. And then here in Catalonia, we actually have the commuter trains are run by a company called Rodales, no? And then obviously we have the Renfe, the AVE, the high-speed trains across Spain, and there are two other players in that market, the Irio train and Ouigo. But I mean, going back to this issue, this tragedy from last night in Catalonia, this is a commuter train that collided into this rubble from the Rodales network. Now the thing here is that Rodales at the moment is still operated by Renfe for Catalonia, and it is a political issue because Catalonia have been asking to run this network themselves. But it runs obviously on tracks that are the infrastructure that are controlled and verified and checked by Adif, which is Spain's national infrastructure operator, as I say. So the thing that we have here in Catalonia is that, well, all of a sudden overnight, no more trains have been running on Rodales, and they've been suspended for the whole of today. The buses have been laid on, and so forth. They don't know what time the commuter rail system will start again. But, this is already turning into a political, finger-pointing exercise, because they just want to know if, also the rail, the train drivers' union, SAMAF it's called here, has already said they're going to call a general strike until the safety is guaranteed. And in a sense, I mean, obviously you can't blame them. I mean, as you said at the outset, we've had the torrential rain, we've had landslides, we've had mudslides and so forth across the region. Somewhere they should be checking that these tracks are safe after these downpours and storms, and something obviously went wrong last night for this train to have ploughed into the rubble of a collapsed wall. I mean, something has definitely gone wrong.
Yeah, and also, I was just reading through your excellent website this morning. We had an almost another near tragedy because there was another rock on the line as well.
And this is the thing. This is why the whole thing is now blowing up, because there was just on Tuesday as well yesterday another train on the Rodalies network in commuter network here in Barcelona came off the rail because it said the axle was struck by a rock which was dislodged by the storm. And Adif said this in a statement. It was running again between two Catalan towns just northeast of Barcelona, and the train was only carrying 10 passengers, and luckily no one was injured. No, but you could immediately ask the question: well, if this happened, why wasn't there? You know what I'm going to...
Yeah.
Why wasn't the whole network brought to a halt until the storm had passed last night? So those are the questions that everyone's asking already. And going back to the tragedy in Andalusia, we've said, you have to separate the two things, but there are now issues about, obviously they're investigating deep into investigation of the cause of that tragedy, and there are many, many different angles on this. I don't know where to start with you, Giles. Really, it depends on what you've already spoken about.
Well, I mean, yesterday because one of the trains was going from Malaga to Madrid. Now, obviously, I'm based Costa del Sol. So many of our listeners will have taken that train that leaves that line from Malaga to, because it is, it has transformed the way that we get up to the capital. And Spain and Spain's high speed rail network has been, people saying, the jewel in the crown. People can get from Barcelona to Madrid, Valencia to Madrid, Sevilla to Madrid, etc. in under 3 hours, which, if you remember, sort of the 80s, is a marvelous thing. But however, there is that. So A, it's the shock of something that lots of us use every day, or have used every year at least, to nip up to the embassy or whatever, and B, perhaps maybe it's a sort of complacency, perhaps, because these lines now are coming up to 30 years old since they were.
Well, yes. Yeah, the first high-speed AVE network track, if you like, the whole network was 34 years ago, and it was actually launched just a few months before the Olympics. So, I can imagine for you going up from Malaga to Madrid, it's obviously changed it. For us from going from Barcelona to Madrid, the train. Before 92, I remember getting a Talgo train from Barcelona to Madrid. It took like 6 or 7 hours. Yes. It was a nightmare. Yeah. And so it's brought it down to 3 hours. And then what they've done, obviously, over these 34 years, they've invested more and more and more. And in fact, any town or small city, any major city across Spain that isn't linked on this network, it's a bad thing. It's part of it's one of Spain's crown jewels, if you like. It's the network of high speed tracks in Spain. I believe is only second to the amount of track there is in China. So put it that way, it is a huge investment that's been made in Spain over the 34 years. And we have to say that this is the first high-speed disaster in the 34 years. That there was a major crash in Galicia in 2013, yes. But that actually wasn't on a high-speed track. It was 80 people died in that tragedy, and the train there was actually going at 179 kilometers per hour on a stretch that should have been 80 kilometers per hour. And these two trains on Sunday night were going less than the speed limit at the time. And as the Renfe president has already said, he says human error can be practically ruled out because things kick in. If one of these high-speed trains goes too fast, or this is the key, Giles. If there's something on the line, or if there is something that shouldn't be there or happening to the train, the safety mechanisms should kick in, and the train comes to a halt. Now, on Sunday night, they're looking now at the track, which the Spain's transport minister said was actually renewed and up till May last year. The train, the Irio train that came off the track, the rails, the back three carriages came off the rails. That's a train that's under 4 years. Under 4 years, it's a new train. So they're looking at what could have happened here. I don't know if you've heard the news this morning, but they've also now analysing the message from the Irio train driver,
right.
Who immediately called, the head office, and he said that he could feel what they mention in Spanish an enganchon, which is like something hooked.
Yeah.
Under the train. He obviously was unaware that the back three carriages had collided with the Alveo train, the Renfe train that was going in the opposite direction. But so, his testimony is going to be crucial as well as to what he heard and what the train was experiencing before the collision.
And the thing is, though, at this point, because I was listening to Canal Sur yesterday on my way down from the hills, and everybody was very measured. In terms of, there wasn't finger pointing as such, and the King and the Queen have cut short their trip to Greece. Of course, their aunt has passed away, the sister of the Queen Mother Sophia,
yes.
And they were yesterday. And the thing is, it's the human stories that are now coming out. This incredibly brave 16-year-old kid who was on his quad bike and rushed over and was literally pulling
yes.
people out of the wreckage. Was one the social media of and we tend to think about stewards or whatever you want to call them, ticket collectors or on trains as being sort of, jobs worths, but the way that he was so calm and said to everybody, stay in the train. We don't know what's happening on the line. We don't know if the line is live. He was absolutely spot on with the way he dealt with this in a situation which must have been absolutely sort of chaotic and catastrophic. And then, on a personal level, I spoke with my guest, Andres, who takes that line up to Madrid on a regular basis. He said he's used to vibration at that particular point, which was very interesting. And this morning, a friend of mine is from Huelva, okay? And that is where the train that got devastated, the other train, was heading from Madrid. And the little girl who was found wandering on the track, it goes to the same school as his daughter. And that really hit home. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, incredible story. I mean, you're talking about the human side, the human stories that are coming out. Yeah, and the 6-year-old managed to reportedly to just walk out of the train herself, and tragically, her parents and brother or sister have lost their lives, and she's now being cared for by her grandparents, I believe. I mean, it's an incredible story. There was also somebody traveling with a dog on the train, and they tried to go back to the train to find the dog. The dog, I don't know what's happened to the dog. The dog either was killed in a tragedy or ran off. No, but the human side of it, the human stories that are coming out are just incredible. You mentioned before that, Giles, about the political side of it, and if there's been any finger pointing. Actually, in what's happened, unlike what happened with the Valencia floods, this tragedy in Andalusia has actually, there's been no animosity at all between the PP, which are the governing party in Andalusia, and the central government, Sanchez's socialists. Now, in fact, Oscar Puente, who's the transport minister, has actually he's literally said, "I have nothing but praise for this guy Juan Moreno." I think he is the original president. Yeah. We've actually coordinated everything perfectly, and Juan was said the same about Oscar Puente. The only party, as you can imagine, that have already, before there was even, the death toll, which is increasing daily, which is horrendous, before the figures were first confirmed, the far-right Vox party already condemned the government for everything. They said it was the accident was due to Sanchez's corrupt government, which is just disgraceful. And I think actually the PP have learned from everything that happened in Valencia, and there's been total calm between the two parties in trying to handle this. First and foremost, I mean, Spain at the moment is in mourning until for Thursday at midnight, and first and foremost this week, the whole focus has been on recovering any more bodies that might be under the wreckage of the trains, and also making sure that those in hospital and families and so forth searching for their loved ones can do so. No?
And
sorry, Giles, carry on.
I was going to say, because, I mean, when we had the high-speed crash in Galicia, where the drive was going far too quickly, the changes were made. And so, again, if anything's going to come out of this, and we could talk, unfortunately, we're going to run out of time in a minute, Tim, but perhaps the time is for, there will be a major reassessment. There will be, because Spain is a big country and it needs its high-speed rail links to get around. It's transformed the way that people do business here as well. And the only people perhaps who are the only people who might come into this criticism are going to be the airlines, who obviously may have been haven't put a cap on the prices, so they've gone, Malaga and Madrid flights have gone through the proverbial roof. But perhaps there we are going to see, a better look at the infrastructure, on checking if there are storms to actually do. I mean, we joke about leaves on the line in the UK, but these things are done for a very good reason, Tim.
Yeah, and I think going back to the whole network itself across Spain, and we just said that it's been here for 34 years, the high speed network, and it is actually transformed a lot of the regions and provincial cities across Spain. That there has been, every region and provincial capital has pushed hard for its own high speed line, or for a station to be on one of these lines. But at the same time, there have been many critics saying that the government and regional governments have spent too much on questionable lines to the detriment of investing in local commuter lines, which may be the case here in Catalonia. But the geographical layout of Spain has dictated that all of these high speed lines have come from Madrid, the geographical focus, center of Spain, so that Madrid also isn't cut off from the rest of Spain. I mean, basically, if you look at, as we know, if you look at Spain, you've got Madrid in the middle, and then a lot of the rest is coastal cities, apart from Zaragoza. Yeah. And this network has been designed for Madrid to be connected to the rest of Spain very, very successfully, and the regions and provincial cities have benefited from this. But there has probably come a point where they need to also really investigate whether this is to the detriment of the commuter lines and more the regional lines. Yeah. I don't know if that line that you're specifically where the accident happened on Sunday, whether it's only used for the high speed trains or whether some of the commuter trains.
I mean, that is the thing, because in Andalusia the rail network before that is I think was probably built by the British, to be honest with you. And if you want to get to Valencia or you want to get to Madrid, 9 times out of 10 you have to basically go to Madrid and then hang a right. Unless you want to do the overnight from which I've seen several. There is an overnighter which goes from Barcelona down to Algeciras, and it stops at a place called Bobadilla, which is which is hysterical when you see that one come in, because people think because it is in the middle of nowhere. And that is another problem, because a lot of Spain is a big country. Spain is a rural country. If something should go on a line, unless they've got CCTV on every inch of these, they can be miles away from any sort of human habitation of that,
Yeah, but as we say, the whole train network in Spain, after China, is one of the most expensive and successful, if you like, up to now. And then even the Spanish train builders, I don't know if you remember this. This is key as well. But they've also not just building trains in Spain. They've also managed to get huge contracts to build trains in other countries. There's a Spanish consortium that built the Saudi Arabia high-speed line between Mecca and Medina that opened in 2018. And this one, of course, we don't want to go off on a tangent here, but this is the one that the former King Juan Carlos was accused of getting a commission for. But so there's huge investment and so much money involved in this rail network and the trains that they need to also focus on the nitty-gritty of controlling what happens, if you've got a storm or a mudslide or something overnight, whether these tracks are safe. So, there's going to be a lot of analysis and studying afterwards, I think.
Tim, this story is going to change before I next speak to you in the next week or week after. But if people want to keep up to date, then obviously go to your excellent websites, SpainInEnglish.com, and you'll have the news up there as it develops.
It's SpainEnglish.com, Charles. Yep. Thank you very much.
Tim, I know you've been busy. Thank you for your sterling work, providing a really good insight there onto not only the main story, but the sub-stories on it as well. Tim, thank you so much for your time today.
Take care, Giles. Thank you.